Welcome to the fourth video in the Clickup EOS series. I'm going to now show you how this actually can work for you and your business and how it actually works in general. And I'm going to set up a few kind of test spaces and duplicate from our templates so you can see what's going on. So if you remember from the last video, we had test tasks and then we made a meeting. So basically in this meeting, we had a new test task that was assigned to me, TP here in this case. And basically this task mirrored everything. If you come back here, I can see the updates right in real time. And if team members in the organization comment, interact, make conversation about the topic or what's going on, it will show up in that same task. This is the reason that ClickUp has so much more power than these task tracking platforms like Trello and Monday. It's because of the lists, the way that they make these things called lists, but you also have a board view of the same list. You can dynamically track everything. And then when you run your meetings in your weekly meeting cadence in EOS, you actually can get reporting on what's going on with this to-do. So just to kind of keep the nomenclature, this is a to-do assigned to Kurt. And we're going to have a due date of next Friday, and we'll make a priority of normal. Now, I'm going to add a couple elements for you that I think every team member is going to want to have. So you have we talked about having goals here, right? And if you remember, the same goals are mirroring here. So for me as an employee or as the executive, I am keeping all of my goals on my own sort of space so I can see them on my list, but then they're also showing up in the EOS. So when we run through the weekly meeting, we go, hey, Kurt, is this goal on track, off track? Did it not start yet? Is there progress being made? As I update this in my space and I look at it, I can go through all of the milestones. So in this case, we can make milestone 1. And again, a milestone can be something that you're using to accomplish the goal. So you would ideally have it assigned, to the goal owner, but it might not be. But then, we're going to chunk this out and say that milestone needs to be done next Tuesday. So we'll add another milestone here, and I'm changing the task type to milestone. Milestone 2. And I will assign it to me and hit save. And then I will add a due date here. And we're going to say we want to get that milestone by next Friday. And right now they're all normal. But this essentially shows you with the goal, if a milestone is selected and completed, then you're going to see this goal progress is going to update to 50%. So in theory, it should update to 50%. Now you can see it's updated there. And when you go to the goals and you run your weekly L10 meeting, you can see that in the L10 meeting, the goal is reporting and it's making progress. And again, on the milestones, if we want to see them all, we can come over here. We can show the closed ones. So that's the power of running EOS in ClickUp. You create your lists. So if you want to make another team member, you just duplicate this template. And essentially you can duplicate the template and copy it and say executive admin, right? So you have an assistant, duplicate. Now initially it's going to duplicate, it's going to copy everything, but these are not the same things. So I would just go into these and just remove them or mark them complete. Again, they're still active on my board. I think we had them in the template initially. Yeah, we had these on the template initially. So I would just remove these from the template and then you won't have them. And then if you want to get fancy, you can archive from this list. Boom. Now it's a clean template essentially. So just to keep it clean, right? We'll archive all in this group. But let's call this assistant Donna. So let's just call it Donna's list. Donna's list. I know it's apostrophe, but I'm not going that far. Now, in our EOS template, we have 2 places where we want to kind of bring things over. And actually, we made a goals view here. We did not make that in our list. So if you remember, we're going to want to duplicate this in our template. So let's go ahead and make a list. And we're going to rename this. We're going to call it goals. And then on this list, we are just going to follow this field. So goal progress, goal status needs to go into the goals. So we're going to come over here to this thing and call it status, add progress, add, and the way we display it is we do progress, then status, then due date, then priority. So progress, then status, then due date, then priority. And usually you don't need to show the assignee because it's going to be for whoever the list belongs to. So let's come back and let's just delete this one, and we'll just do another duplication now that we've kind of polished this up to save ourselves some work. And we'll go duplicate, and we'll call it Donna's list. Now, Donna is a part of the team here. She doesn't have any tasks right now because we have not assigned her any tasks. But the trick here, remember, is we also need to mirror the statuses. I believe the statuses are properly matching. If we look down here, she has the same statuses. You can always check the template and go to your list settings and your list statuses, and you can see here there's a use and a custom. I recommend you pick something you really like that's intuitive for you and the team. It's not going to be perfect because you're going to have different workflows and different meetings in EOS. You might create a separate space where you need to have very unique statuses, but the more you deviate from this sort of framework, the more you're going to get complexity, and that's going to cause problems. So I recommend just pick this and then try to make it work for almost everything that you want. Now, there's a couple of things we need to do with this team member. If you create an automation at the folder level, it goes all the way down into all the subsections. But we don't want, if I create a headline here, we don't want it to like populate as a to-do on my list. So rather than make a full-on automation at this folder level, the only places we really want to mirror things is in to-dos and goals. We want individuals that are assigned those respective things to be shown up there. So we have to go in here and look at our automations we have, and we're going to duplicate this one, but we're going to change it in the current location, and it's going to go to Donna's list, and it's going to be like when assigned to Donna, which she's not on this team right now. So I'd have to invite her to this in order for this list to take effect. But if she was part of this whole ClickUp setup, I would select this, and then that would duplicate the action. Then I would just up here and just say, you know, Donna's dupes to Donna's list, or call it whatever I want. In this case, we have Kurt goals to Kurt's list, so I just call it Donna goals to Donna's list. The other automation we have in here is going to be set a custom field. So this is basically establishing a 0 on the goal if it's created initially, whatever on that one. So this is how you get those dynamic tasks to show up on two separate lists when you're putting your goals together. That's really what this comes down to. If you know how to do this, you add members to your base, you're rocking. This is really all it is. And then again, we have issues, and we can create more issues. I like to have people also add priority. So usually when they submit, I recommend team members submit and add a priority. And then when we get to the meeting, everyone votes, and then we sort by vote. And that dictates what we talk about in the meeting. And we go through that, like the level 10 framework from EOS, where you're basically trying to identify, prioritize, discuss, solve these issues. So that's how you effectively implement and execute on EOS within ClickUp. Super simple, super straightforward. If you have any questions, drop me a DM, drop me a comment. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, please share, like, and subscribe. I do occasionally work and consult with people just to help them get this thing built out. It's something I can do very fast and easy. I know how to do it like the back of my hand. So if you're interested in that, drop me a note and we can talk about that as well. If you have more questions or want more topics covered in how you can operate with this, let me know. Add to the sidebar so it's in your favorites, and then you would probably want also your list, your goals view added to your favorite. I almost pin these all to the top usually, at the very, very top, because that's really where I want to see like what's my goals. Every morning I want to review my goals, reflect on them. How's the progress? How's the timing? Are we moving along? What milestones do I have? I mean, this is the driver of the business, right? The heartbeat of what you're trying to accomplish. So ClickUp is king. In this, I'm going to show you if you have a sheet, you can make any website work. So I think I did maybe a demo here, but if I did not, so this is just a sample of an old sheet we have for revenue from a while back. And it's basically just showing you, measurables we want to track and who's responsible on the team member for that. And so this is kind of showing you, net profit, targets, basically anything people want responsibility towards. So the way you set that up, again, as a reminder, is you come over to customize, any source, you grab a Google Sheet, you make it visible. You don't make it editable from any link, public link, but you make it visible like this, and you're good to go on that. So I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks a lot for watching, and let me know what else I can help you with when it comes to EOS and ClickUp.